If you're an au pair and you're thinking of going through a rematch right now, I know how it feels and how stressful it can be. I've been there. It can be so anxious to ask you whether or not you're going to go back to your country. Are you going to find a new host family? It's really stressful. I know for me, my situation was so specific. I went on all the forums to find answers and I couldn't find any. So that's why I wanted to make this video, not just to reassure people who go through a normal rematch, but also to maybe help someone who might be in my situation that was, again, really specific and I couldn't find lots of advice on it. So hopefully this video is going to help at least a person. That would generally make my day because I know how stressful it was, and if I can help just one person in this situation, it's already a win. For those who have never been through a rematch, you have no idea how stressful it is, especially for an overthinker like me. I know I'm an overthinker, so my brain went everywhere. I hope this video is going to help you and you're going to find the advice you're looking for. Let's dive in. To start, hi, my name is Emily. Welcome back for those who already have been there for a long time, and welcome for those who are new. For those who probably already know, I'm an au pair, and I guess it's not a surprise for anyone watching this video with the introduction that I just made. And I went through a rematch that went extremely well. I am so grateful for it, and I wanted to share with you my experience because I really thought I would never rematch, that I would never find the courage to ask for a new family, and that I would just endure this situation until the end of the year. And I did find the courage to finally rematch. So let's go over my situation and how it went. I cut this video in 6 parts. Some of them might be a little similar, but in general it's going to be 6 parts. We're going to start with the situation I was in, the family I wanted to rematch from, the situation I am in right now, the rules you should be careful around rematching that I didn't know of and that I'm happy I discovered before making any mistakes, what I was scared of before the rematch, what made me succeed my rematch, and finally what I didn't know before and that can help you through this whole thing. So how was my previous host family? The thing is, they were nice, but lots of things didn't fit with me, and I felt really uncomfortable with some comments that were made. And I think in their point of view, it was not something they saw as negative. It thought it was okay to say those things, but for me, it really made me uncomfortable. So it was a really hard rematch because I felt like I had no reason to actually rematch, because in their heads, it didn't feel like something bad, but me, it made me feel really uncomfortable. To start with, I had lots of comments on the way I dressed. And it was during my free time. I can understand during work time, but during my free time, I don't really like it. I know it was like inside of the house that I had restrictions on no crop tops, no skirts, no leggings because it was too close to my body. And at first, I took it on me because, again, I started my program, I started to make friends, I started connecting with people around me, and I didn't really want to leave. And I really liked that place. I really wanted to be in Atlanta. It was a location I really wanted to be in the first place. So I took it on me in the first place. And I think that was one of my first mistakes. Keep your standards high, guys. If someone does not meet your standards, don't hesitate to leave. Just leave strategically, and we'll talk about it later in the video. Then I was told I would be able to use the dad's car, and most of the time they would say no. There was no actual rules around it, and they would make the rules on the way. One day I wanted to go to a poetry reading. I had to leave at like 8 and I would come back around 10. And at first it was, yeah, of course you can go, there's no issue, we don't need the car. And last minute, before I left, they were like, can we talk? I don't think I want you to use the car because XYZ, it's too late, or it's not safe to park your car here. When I asked my area director, she said the area was safe, so I don't know. I feel like most of the time they were trying to find excuses not to give me the freedom that I wanted. But again, this is just me interpreting what I lived. Maybe it was not their intention. Then they used like things that I would not do well in my job to make me not want to go out, of like, oh, also, see, you were a little late this morning, so I don't really want you to go out tonight. And at first I took it, I was like, yeah, okay, it makes sense, like I can get her point of view. But then it's like, the more it moved on with time, the more I realized it was always like more excuses to not let me get the car. And I get it if you don't want me to use the car, but then they didn't also want to pay for Ubers, so I was really stuck at home. And being paid 200, and I was paid 230 back then, 230 every week is not enough to buy Ubers and actually enjoy my au pair life. Being an au pair is not just taking care of children. If it was, I would have stayed in France. I think they didn't really understand what it was to get an au pair, and a lot of family are like this, especially the ones it's their first experience having an au pair, and that was the case of this family. My current family had 8 au pairs, and it's really comforting for me to know that, because I know that they have experience and they know how to deal with it, and if there is an issue, they know how to deal with it. good. And we'll go back on this family, but honestly, the family I'm in right now, they're perfect. They were like, we'll go back on it. I'm so lucky and grateful for what I have today. And honestly, the car, I guess, wouldn't have been an issue if I lived in Chicago or New York, because there's lots of public transport and it's not too much of a problem. But I live in Atlanta, and we know how public transport in Atlanta is. For a 15-minute drive, you get an hour bus drive, which is way too long. Like, I have barely time to enjoy times with my friends. The closest MARTA station was 30-minute walks away from my house, so I had to walk 30 minutes and then do the MARTA that didn't actually go everywhere I wanted to go, so then I had to like go off the MARTA and then take buses around, which was way too complicated. For those who remember my first Atlanta vlog, I did take the MARTA. It was like lots of MARTA, lots of buses, lots of walking. It was honestly not the best. Also, the family didn't keep me posted on the kids' situation. The kids were in a very specific situation. I'm not going to talk too much about it because, again, it's their private life and I'm not here to expose it online. I don't want to do that too much. I just want to talk about my situation, but I was not aware of some of the things that the kids had to go through, and it impacted their behavior, which made it really hard to take care of them sometimes. They hid a lot of things. One of the kid was disabled, and this kid, she was really lovely, and the thing is, she sometimes had a hard time expressing her emotions. She would deal with it in a way that was hard for me to take care of her. I told them from the beginning that I never took care of someone who was disabled, and they told me it was like taking care of any other kids, and it was not true. And the thing is, when you get an au pair, and the au pair comes from the other side of the planet, you tell them those things, because it's a big trip. It's a big trip, and then if it doesn't work out, it's stressful for us. For the family, it can just like change au pairs. Like, I had stories of some of my friends whose parents would just like change their mind and not tell them and pick another au pair and then just rematch last minute once they have a new au pair, not telling the au pair. So the family, it's really easy. The au pair, we come from another country. It's not fair that family hide this sometimes, but I think this is why rematching is good. Rematching, you're already in the country. You might have chances to meet families that are around you and actually meet them in real life, meet the kids in real life, and that's so much better than behind a screen. I feel like rematching is so much easier than actually like having your first match with a family. Then on eating, I had a few problems with the fact that one day I asked to add some stuff to the grocery list. My previous host mom said no because it was unhealthy and she didn't want this around her kids. It's just in France, I'm used to having like cereals in the morning, and I'll have like those little like chocolate cereals. It's the first thing I asked for, and she was like, oh no, it's not healthy, I don't want this around my kids. It's like, okay, we can like store them somewhere they don't get it, but I'd like to eat how I want to eat. And then I had comments on the fact that I was European and European eat healthy, so why are you eating all of this? If I can be honest on this, in Europe we have lots of restrictions on the food already. So the food that's considered unhealthy in Europe is not as unhealthy as in the US. So I don't know if it's like surprising or something, but in Europe we eat sugar. We do eat chocolate, we do eat sugar. It's not because like Europe is considered healthier than the US that we just eat healthy all the time. If Europe is healthier too, let's be honest, it's because we have lots of restrictions around our food. So we have lots of laws that companies have to follow, way more than in the US. In the US they can put whatever they want. We can't allow ourselves to still have sugar and be healthy. It's not a reason for her to make a comment on like where I'm from and how I should eat depending on the country I was born in. Like, it was really inappropriate to make those comments, and now that I'm out of it, it feels good to be able to like actually complain about it and state that it's not normal to say those things, because back then I was like, oh no, it's okay, I don't think she means wrong, it's inappropriate to say this, it's disrespectful. I didn't dare to consider it disrespectful because I wanted to fit in and make things work and take things on myself, which is not good. And so I felt like they really didn't want to spend any money on me. Some days I really was like starving, and in my periods it was even worse because I need lots of food when I'm on my periods, and I would be on my bed like starving, and I didn't dare to ask for food. I was waiting for dinner. I think there was a red flag from the beginning of we went to a fast food, and I remember my host mom, I started to order. I was like, oh, I'd like this sandwich. I was gonna order a meal. She cut me off and she said, oh, it's just gonna be a sandwich. And it's like, can I eat? Are you inviting me, or like, are you restricting me? Like, what's the plan here? And it felt a little strange, and I thought it was like a misunderstanding at that point, but now that I've lived all those things, I know it wasn't. If you're not capable of putting the money in the au pair you want to host, don't get an au pair at all. And I think what was really specific about my situation, and that's where we're going to the specific part, is my family wanted to move, but they didn't know if they would move before I arrived. They didn't make it a big deal when we talked about it on the phone, so I was like, oh, they're probably gonna move next year or after. Like, they're not gonna move when I'm here. Like, it wasn't mentioned it real quick, but they didn't like go deep into like explaining if they really were gonna do this. The more the time passed, the more it started to be official and that they were going to move. But I started to make friends. I had my boyfriend at the time. I didn't want to leave. I felt like they would not understand if I told them like this that I didn't want to leave. And actually, one comment really made me uncomfortable was when my host mom said that she wasn't comfortable with me staying alone at home with the host dad for a weekend. Like, what do you think is going to happen? When she made that comment, I really knew it was my moment to rematch, and I think that's really what launched me into rematching, because this was like, that's where I draw the line. Like, I don't know what you're scared of, it's me or your husband, or if I should be scared of your husband, but this is unhealthy and I don't want to stay in there. And what's hard in rematching, and most au pair probably know about this, is like, most of the time you get attached to the kids. As someone who works with kids, it's like, you want their best, you want to help them grow as healthy adults, and you want the year you spend with them to bring them as much as you can for them to be healthy and happy in the future. But at what cost? Is it like at the cost of your mental health? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And you shouldn't put your mental health like after the kids. Yes, the kids matter, and that's true, but if you're not mentally stable enough or in a good environment to take care of them, you're not going to take good care of them. So I think it's better to just move on. And what really stressed me about this thing of they were moving out is I didn't know when to rematch. I didn't know if I was gonna go with them, and maybe my life could be better where they would move. Maybe it was like a sign from the universe of like, you should go this way, you should go there. But at the same time, I knew that they would move near their family. They were really a family-oriented kind of family. And that's probably why they didn't want me to go out that much, is because they thought that an au pair program was like just adding someone in your family. Also, another problem I had with this family is they didn't give me a schedule. And I learned afterwards they're not allowed to do this. I thought they were. Depending on the families, they could like adapt, but they're not allowed to. You're supposed to have a schedule, and you're supposed to respect not more than 10 hours a day and not more than 45 hours a week. This is the rule, and you have to follow it, and you have to have a schedule to know when you can go out. And I only knew that my Sundays were free, so the rest of the time I was just hanging there and doing stuff, and it's like I didn't really know. Like, during school year it was okay because I knew when I would work or not, but out of the school year it was like chaotic. I didn't know what to do. And then there were comments on like me not getting the kids at some places, but I didn't have a schedule. Like, what am I supposed to do? The schedule that they gave me was like a full schedule of their whole thing, but if I actually went to everything, it would be over the 45 hours. So all of those events were not for me, and I didn't know which one I was supposed to go to. So it was very complicated. I had no social life. I could make friends at the beginning, but after that it's like super hard to see them. All my friends had to like come pick me up and bring me to their place and then bring me back. It was not fun at all, and I hated this situation. I wanted to get out of it, but again I was so stressed about like the moving. Maybe moving with them might be a good solution, but at the same time I don't feel good, and I started to like it here. So what if I can't find a family here, or what if I find a family that's worse? Like, I was so stressed about everything. It was so hard to think with the moving on top of everything. And I did talk to them about the moving, of like, I'm not sure I want to move, and they were like, you'll see, it'll be fine, it will be so much fun. They didn't take my emotions in. They didn't listen to my call of I would like to stay. They were just like, nah, you'll be okay, you'll see, it's a great place. But that's not how you deal with other people's emotions. You don't brush them off, you listen and you try to find a solution. And if those people don't want to move with you, then don't make them move with you. It's your decision to move, and it was not official when I came in, so it should not be a shock that I don't want to move with you. Now I'm so happy that's in the past. Right now I'm in the best family ever, like seriously. I want to talk about my situation right now because really it's like so different. Now I'm with a family that we're looking for a friend/employee kind of relationship, where my alone time is my alone time, and it also is a time for them to spend some time as a family. And it feels generally so much better to have this distance, because I think not having this distance made the communication harder. Personally, I was scared to talk to my previous host mom about things because I was scared it would like impact her relationship as a sort of family. Like, I know lots of au pairs love that, but I realized emotionally it's hard for me to deal with this and how to communicate with the person in a professional way without impacting the relationship that's supposed to be like in a kind of like family way, if it makes sense. I have way more freedom. I have a car. I have a schedule. I have my own room, bathroom, and kitchen. I feel like the family is really good at communicating issues. Even the daughter, like the oldest daughter, the way she communicates her issues, you can see that her parents taught her well how to communicate, and now she's able to do it with her brothers. It feels good to be in an environment that's healthy like this. And I think you can see the difference when you go from a family who never had an au pair before and a family who already had au pairs before because they know how to deal with it. It's not always the case from what I've heard. Like, I've heard a few stories of au pairs who like went in families that always had an au pair, and so they took everything for granted. But I think like this family I'm in, they never had any rematch. They never had any issue. From what I've heard, they never had any rematch. They never had any issues. And it's like, it's good to be like, okay, if it went well before, it should go well this time. And honestly, right now it's been like a few months and I don't feel anything weird. Like, it's just like I'm comfortable. Like, this is what being an au pair should feel like, I think. Because before, I was anxious every day. I would wake up anxious. I was anxious about what I would wear. I was anxious about what my previous host mom would tell me. And you don't want to go through that. Like, it's so uncomfortable. That's not a life you want. Like, better go back to your country than live in an environment like this. Now, the rules around rematching that I kind of like discovered on the way, and I think might be good for you to know, is you can't start rematching on like social media before you officially rematch on the platform, because if the agency finds it, they are allowed to cut you out of the program. So don't take that risk just because you're scared that the 2 weeks are going to be too short, because I know those 2 weeks are really stressful. 100%. Like, those 2 weeks, very, very stressful. And I was lucky to have 4 weeks, because with my previous host family, we decided that when I asked for rematch, it was 4 weeks before they were moving, and we decided we would use those 4 weeks for rematch, and my area director asked the agency to give me 4 weeks, which they did, because the family was fine with me staying 4 more weeks working for them. So that's something you can try to ask your area director if she's capable of doing. I know my area director did it, so maybe they could do it for you. Maybe you can have an arrangement with your family where you have those 4 weeks of rematch. If you're in a situation where there's a situation of like moving out and you want to stay and your family can understand it, then you should definitely talk about it with them, and maybe you might have those 4 weeks of rematch instead. So don't hesitate to try to ask for a little more. Like, it's stressful, we all know about it. If the agency can give you a little more time and you can have access to that, take it. And then the second rule that I learned is you're allowed to post on social media when you rematch. So during the rematch, you should definitely use that as a tool, because first, that's how I found my new family, and also if you want to stay in the area, you have Facebook groups. I never use Facebook, but for this one time, Facebook was really useful. So you have Facebook groups you can join that are like au pairs in your area, au pairs in Atlanta, au pairs in Marietta, wherever, and it's easier to find a family from this point. So really, if you're stressed about rematching, this is a great way. But also know that throughout the app, I had people asking for me really fast. We're gonna go on this afterwards, but lots of families are interested in getting au pairs that are already in the country. That's something they're interested in most of the time, because it's like less things to worry about. They have them faster at their house. Some of them actually go for au pairs that are going through a rematch only with girls that go through a rematch because they had an experience as an au pair. They know what goes wrong and what doesn't go well with them. So it's easier to communicate what you need because you had that small experience that didn't go well. So some families just go for au pairs that are rematching because it's more their thing. So don't feel stressed thinking you're not going to find someone, because I think it's easier to find a family when you're rematching rather than when you have no family and you're in your home country waiting to match with a family. I think my biggest stress was not to find a family in this area, because I really started to make friends and have connections around me, and I really liked the area. It was the biggest stress, I think. I was really terrified of it, but I'm right now genuinely so happy that I rematched because my situation is so much better. Honestly, don't hesitate. It's like there are some moments I think that are better to rematch than others, and I was lucky to rematch in like, I would say, a good area or like a good moment. It was like during the summer break, so that helped. Going on what made me succeed my rematch, I think lots of things that I did really actually helped. So first, make a list of what you want. I don't think you should lower your standards. Maybe a few things that you consider that are not that important but that you would like, but stick to what you want, because otherwise you're going to be uncomfortable with the family you go with. And I'm someone who trusts in the universe, so it's like if the universe thinks that something is waiting for me in my home country, then I will not find a family and I will go home and it's okay. That's how I saw this, and I think it really helped me to go through through the rematch without stressing too much in the end, because at first I really did stress a lot. But also in your list, I think the most important thing you need to look for is what relationship you want with the family, because I think your skills are things that you can develop as you work. If you have like a few skills that are lacking, of course talk about it with the family, be honest about it. It's things that you can work on the other side. The relationship with the family, if it's not what you're looking for, it's not going to change. You're not going to want this afterwards, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. So I think that's the major point, is to know what relationship you want with your family. I think the biggest point of my successful rematch is I was ready to rematch. I made a resume that I can put you there if you want to. I don't know if I can share it on Canvas if you guys want the template to reuse it, but I did this and I worked on it and I was ready before I asked the rematch. I prepared posters to put in like cafes around my house to be like, hey guys, do you need an au pair? If you need an au pair, call this number, etc., etc. So I really was ready to rematch. Don't hesitate. I asked schools if I could put posters down, and the schools were like, yeah, of course you can. Think of like family gyms and cafes. All those places are places that can take your posters. Go ask if you can, of course, before you do. But it's definitely something you should consider. Also, I used all the chances and opportunities I could get. This is going to be different from everyone, I think, depending on the area you want to stay in. But go first, find the Facebook groups and post your resume. Also, I see a lot of au pairs who post pictures of the kids they were with on the posters. Maybe the parents are fine with it. I know that I'm not comfortable with posting any kids online, even if the parents are okay with it. So social media is really dark. We all know it. Like, it was important for me for my resume to look like this, without any pictures of the kids, just a picture of me and just a few information about what I like to do and stuff and how I worked and my experience. But I don't think putting pictures of the kids is gonna make your resume work better. I thought this at first, but remember that social media is a dangerous place, especially for kids, so don't put pictures of the kids. I think it's really important, and I don't know if it works better for the families or not, but I know that's what I align with, so I wouldn't recommend putting pictures of the kids. Just, it's your resume, you put your experience on it, and try to avoid any kids picture, because again, it's social media. And when I talk about the opportunities that some of you might not have but I had the chance of having, is like, grab every opportunity you have. You might have different opportunities than me, but I met a host mom that was not looking at the time. She was looking for a friend of hers, and we started talking, and she told me she's been a host mom for I think 13 years, which is a lot of time. And this host mom, I asked if I could call her because I had doubts about what was happening with my family, what I should look for in the next family, because again, I was kind of like anxious about what was happening. It's a stressful time. And she was like, oh yeah, of course, let's call. So see, even people who are not interested in your resume or in your profile are people that can help you, because I called this mom. I told her all my issues that I had with my family. I was honest about everything. I was like, what do you think I should do? And it's also easier to really like put everything out there with a host mom that is not looking into your profile, because you can really like let it all out and have real advice, because she's not trying to make her family look good for you to say yes and come work with her. She's really going to be honest with you, and I think that's a great thing you should consider, is don't hesitate reaching for host moms who are not looking but are okay to help you. Don't go reaching for every host mom, because some of them just don't really want to give that help. But if you have host moms that are ready to help you, take that help. Even if they don't want your profile, it's always helpful. And also because this host mom has been, again, host mom for 13 years, I think, and she was the administrator of a private host mom group in my area. From what I remember, it was mostly host moms, and they shared the profiles they saw that they thought were interesting, and that is where my current host mom found my profile. It's really because I took every opportunity and I asked for help. Don't be scared to ask for help. Even if the host mom you're talking to is not interested in your profile, she can give you advice. And again, even if I didn't find this host family here, I know there was a family that was not too far away, like a town 3 hours away, and again, we had the same conversation, and I think it was the same kind of family as here, like looking for friendship/employee relationship, and I would have my own space, and everything was like really perfect with that family too. It's just the distance that made me choose this one. But again, like even through the app, you're gonna find great families that are really interested interested in your profile and with whom you're gonna match. And I had lots of people matching with me really fast. Like I reopened my app and I already was full of family asking for me. Don't stress about no family wanting your profile when you're rematching, because I really think lots of families do look for au pairs that are rematching because you're already in the country, so it's less long to wait for you. There's no papers, you know what you're gonna get, and also they can meet you in real life if you're not too far from their house. So it's really like rematching feels easier than matching, so don't stress about it. It's not going to take as long as it took you to match, because I think my first match was, I started to look around October, and I think I found a family in December, so it took 3 months for me, where here I think it took me like 2 weeks, or the 2 weeks that I had to match with my new host family. I know I was really stressed by the time, but really don't stress about it. And for those who have the same issue of the moving that I had, it's like, know that if you're not getting along with the family, you're not going to get along with them when you move, and the area is not going to be better. It's better to rematch and change area and change family and be with a family you match with more, rather than staying with a family in which you don't feel comfortable and you don't feel heard and you don't feel seen. And I think also rematching during summer vacation is the best moment, because it's where most host families are going to look for au pairs. I would recommend you to go for something like this. Wait maybe a little. So consider waiting for a sign if you believe in any religion or anything. I know, again, I believe in the universe. What happened for me is I had a terrible day at work. I was supposed to meet with some friends, and I went there too late because of issues with my host family. And so I was in the car. For once I had the car, and I was crying and crying and crying. I felt so bad that day. I really just I didn't know if I wanted to go home, but I really didn't want to stay. And I prayed the universe. I was like, please send me a sign. Please send me a sign. And I was in tears and in tears and in tears. And then I opened Instagram, and some au pair friends were on the live. I opened the live on Instagram and I talked to them, and I tell them, guys, I was kind of like, in general when I cry, I'm like also trying to find like humorous things about it, and I'm like, guys, it's dramatic, and I started to make jokes about it. And those friends were having a sleepover, and they were like, come over, like just come over, we're gonna have a sleepover with you, it's gonna be so much fun, and we're gonna look at this together. I went there, and when I told them the situation, everyone was telling me to rematch. Everyone was telling me to rematch. And it's like, this is the sign that I asked for, this is the sign that I needed, and it's been given to me, now I have it, and now all I have to do is move on and just keep moving. But like, I needed to rematch, so I went home, asked to talk with my host family, and asked for a rematch immediately because I knew it was my sign. And now that I'm in this family, I really feel so grateful, because it was the best sign I could have asked for. Like, now I'm here. So don't hesitate, if you're a believer, to ask for signs. I think it can help you. If you're not, it's okay. You can still figure something out on your own. I think it's fine too. It's just a plus for me, because when I rethink of that day, I'm like, really, like, the universe just sent me that sign, like the biggest, and it's like, you can't mistake it for anything. It's like, it's big as a house, like, you can't miss it. I think big as a house is a French expression though. But anyways, I think in general that's it. We went kind of over everything. We kind of talked about everything. I don't think I said everything in order, because I added some more points in between. I was going to do a last part about what I didn't know, but what this part was about was mostly to talk about how when your profile is back on Rematch, some families are looking for only people who rematch, or some families are interested more in having someone who rematches because you're on the country again. So rematch sounds scary, and you know what, you might not find a family, but from what I've heard, most of the girls who don't find a new family are girls who have a real issue with English. That's the only thing I've heard. Otherwise, if you didn't do anything wrong and you did your job and the issue was with the family, you should not have any issue with rematching. Or even if it's not an issue with the family, but like more like an issue with like how you guys work together. Like, it could be a great family, but it's not a great family for you. You will find someone. People will understand when you tell them about what happened to you or how it didn't work for you. Like, they are families, and most of those already had au pairs before, and they know what it is about. They know what it's about, and they've been through it and they understand, like they're empathetic, they will hear you. Don't stress too much about rematching. I feel like all the advice are in this video now. I don't really know what to add to it. It's stressful, really, and I get it. You'll get through it though. Be prepared. Try to put all the chances on your side. Again, as I said, take every opportunity. Prepare for rematch by having a resume ready, having posters ready. If that helps you to distress a little, to know that you're prepared before those 2 weeks to start of rematch, you have like everything to post on Facebook and everything, then you'll be fine. Once it's on rematch, it's like you post, and you're gonna find someone. Meet with families, talk with everyone, because even the families that don't match with you can help you. Again, this woman, she had her au pair and she didn't care about having another au pair, but still she helped me out. So I think you should really try to get every opportunity that you can. My point of view is, if you don't rematch, maybe something better is waiting in your home country. Don't feel bad about it. It's okay. You learned something, you still tried something, and it's great. Don't blame yourself for it. No matter what happens in the future, know that it's what's meant for you. Like, there's no way that if you're sent back to your country, it's not for good reasons. There's no way that if you find a new family, it's not for good reasons. If you do the rematching with good spirit, and if you do it with a good heart, and you're honest with the family, there's no way that it's gonna go wrong for you. So that's my way to see things now, and it's way more peaceful than before, where I was really stressed and I was controlling on everything. I was like, I don't want to leave, and I don't want to this and this and that. Now, like, after I was more like, okay, we'll see how it goes, and this mindset really helped me to go through this. So keep this mindset and it's gonna be okay. If you have any questions about your situation because you're stressed about your rematch, like, please don't hesitate to tell me. I will be more than grateful to help you. Like, that's why I'm making this video, so really feel comfortable telling me. But otherwise, I think that's all I have for you for today. Again, I'll try to help you as much as possible in the comments, but thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in this channel, we talk a lot about travel, we talk a lot about thrifting, we talk a lot about books, so that's kind of like what I like. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate. But I hope at least this video helped a few people, and that now you're less stressed with facing your rematch. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week for another video, and thank you so much again. You're gonna go through this. It's gonna be okay. Take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and I will see you next week. Bye.